Hej och varmt välkomna! Mitt namn är Emanuel och jag har haft glädjen att föreviga den magiska dagen för över ett par hundra bröllopspar. Det är med stor glädje, energi och passion som jag fotograferar ett bröllop. Jag ser till de små detaljerna och fångar de stora ögonblicken. Välkomna att ta del av några av de tips som jag har samlat på mig genom åren när jag fotograferar bröllop. Jag ser mycket fram emot att få den stora äran att föreviga just er idag. Tack! Hi, my name is Emmanuel and I have worked as a professional wedding photographer the last 12 years. It's with great passion and joy that I pursue the noble talks into capturing a wedding. I make sure to tell the story and capture all wonderful moments and fine details that evolve during the wedding day. Welcome to view some of the technique that I'm using when capturing a wedding. I hope you found these interesting and very welcome in contacting me. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. So let me briefly go through some of the photographing techniques and principles that I'm using when I'm shooting weddings. So mastering and how to create a great pose is one of the most important and vitalist skill. Without it, it's pretty hard to succeed as a wedding photographer. Let me run through a couple of images here that shows traditional kind of posing, walking, a little bit about the kids' anticipations, the playful movement and action, and the active use of foreground, background, and some other tips that might be of your interest. So this is a typical posed image when taken by a big window light in the back of us and facing the couple. Really important on how you actually secure that the angle here is correctly done. So you get a very, very balanced and beautiful image. And of course, in every image, the expression is the most important and vital thing to capture and to create together with the wedding couple. People usually think that traditional kind of photos are a little bit boring. It really ends up that it's very good to have if you want to send something in the thanks card or whatever. So this is a typical, setup of you do the traditional kind of posing. I usually have a broad repertoire of different shots that we go through that includes movement, includes joy, includes happiness, include romance, include crazy stuff that you might like to do, and traditional and detailed shot and all that. So that's all gone through during probably 1 hour session when we execute the portrait part. You can do the portrait in so many different kinds. You can use just like this shot, taking a slightly from above, facing each other, getting the right connection and capturing this beautiful moment. Another thing you can have is let the couple's face side by side. So you have facing each other. This is a typical example of that. And once again, the expression is the uttermost important thing, that you have the right connections between the couple. I really love taking this kind of images when you slightly get into a kiss. Whether you actually do the kissing or just about to do it, it's really beautiful to capture it in a very, very slow manner, and you get very emotionally strong and appealing image. Another thing is doing movement and action, and this is a fun part to do. We set up something like walking here and holding hands, looking at each other, capturing the exact moment when you have the correct expression. So there is actually a lot of series in this particular frame that I took, but this one were the best. Another technique that I'm using quite a bit is the active use of foreground and the background. In this particular scene, you have this beautiful bride and her expression talking with the groom, facing over here, and I was standing back and had a big window light striking out, giving a great exposure of and light, very natural, very fluid, and an extremely appealing picture. Working with foreground background here, once again you have the featuring the bride. And in this hand, we actually shot Gustav, as his name is, rather than the next shot when he turned around. We were very joyful about the moment and get him in focus. But for the particular moment, we got Ellie, her name, in this particular shot for featuring her in this image. And of course, all the emotional thing that happens, set up the nomade shot over the shoulder, or just a simple execution of action, actually do great images even when it's bright sunlight. You have to master that kind of techniques when the sun is heavily overcasting. But still, you can do great images by knowing how to use the light and directing the couple into a very emotional, strong picture. Of course, how you use natural light. This is the bride was just about getting ready to the ceremony, and I placed her here by the window light, striking on coming from the right side, giving a very nice high contrast, a very great composition, and you have the shadow striking on the right and giving a very nice depth and dimension to the shot. This is an excellent example of joy and movement that you can have in a picture. It was great fronting this one. I took it last year. An extremely fun and joyful moment in regards to the couple. And you have to always be prepared to capture the unexpected. This is a beautiful wedding couple sitting in a car after the wedding, all joyful and happy, taking a glass of champagne. I just went into the car quickly and mastered this shot. Another very nice technique to use is having a geometry in a balance, symmetry and framing in getting your image done properly. So you can do this by different kind of object. What I'm using here, it's the parallel lines of the pillars on the left to right to here and here to get two verticals, and then you have actually the horizontal going on here. And you have a placement of the couple here in something called rules of third. And for you who's a little bit photographically interested, you all know about that one. What it actually is that you divide the image in sections. This is one section of the image. Here's another section, and then you have cross sections going here and down here. So you get a kind of a grid, and the intersection of the grid is where we actually place the point of focus or point of interest of what we would like to attract. The placement I did here with the couple were in the left part of the rule of thirds, when you have the intersection of the crossing line in one of the sections where you have their eyes, and then you got this kind of image done. Beautifully shot, happy couple, small direction about how she was holding the bouquet, and we were all good. This is another example of a creative framing. A little bit unplanned. We just walked by. This is in KTH at Stockholm. One of the objects was sitting. We were seeing the light coming on the left, leading the interest to the couple actually here, and then you have the oval structure here, the stone structure, where I placed the couple inside of that one, and we did a more creative shot using a geometrical balanced and symmetry. This is another shot executed at Stadshuset, where you actually can see using the pillar in the foreground, and having this object here leading into the couple sitting, and having, of course, the emotional, strong image and connection. As always, expression is always the most important in my point of view, even though it's very, very important, of course, to get a technique and you can master the skills of what makes a great photograph. This is another thing of you actually deliberately using objects to balance. So on the left side, you have this big green thing and placing the couple on the right of it, then you have actually two objects that balances the shot. So you have one object here, another here, so you get two objects, and they are very, very well balanced together to create this image. This is another image that you have using use a pillar on the left side and place the couple in a correct manner in order to shoot. Geometrically, the leading lines, and when you have the ale going up here, that's another leading into the image, leading into the point of subject matter. The beautiful couple going up here. This is one of many shots that we did together during this day. And of course, this image as well, when you place the couple facing each other, and having the sun coming in, the lens flare subtly hitting, creating a very, very strong image when you have a geometrically attractive and good shot. This is another shot when you're actually using the trees and you're using the skies to do a very, very solid image when you combine both. This is actually an example of a diagonal. So if you think of a diagonal coming all over here, and then you have the baseline, and the fact that you place the couple here in the rule of third I was talking about briefly before, about getting the interest and focus back to the couple. And of course, you know, it's all about the expression. So them looking at each other in a correct angle is something I have to see as a photographer and help them to direct and to create this beautiful image. Using walls and backdrops, this is all over the place, and people actually really don't see that, but look at this beautiful wall and all the colors shining through it. In fact, just in front of this couple, there were a lot. It's a parking lot, and then you have this the building, and they were actually staying in front of that, and I have all the cars and everything. I cropped those away, of course, and zoomed in to get this beautiful yellowish white background. So use that as an actor. So using walls and textures as a natural backdrop is extremely, and of course the direction of light, how the light is coming in, how its shadow falls when the sun are high up, and where to place all that to get a very natural and beautiful look into the image is some important skill that you have to have as a wedding photographer. Yes, so another very important and creative kind of photography that I'm using is using different kind of techniques to achieve interest into the photo. What you see here is something using reflections, mirror, and this can be used by using mirror. You can do this on if it, you know, have a surface that is very blank, or if it's raining, you can always make a lot of use of this technique. So this is mirroring. You just place the bride here in the front. I was staying behind, the window light coming from the right. Place the groom up in the stairs, and a shot actually focus on the bride in the mirror, getting very lots of interesting dimension into this shot. So another thing you can use a mirror or reflections for is actually you don't actually have to take the direct on the subject matter of interest. You can actually shoot through a mirror, like I did in this shot here in getting ready. I used a mirror in the apartment and shot into the mirror to get the interesting thing that were going on between the bride and her sister in this fact. So this is use of reflections. You can also use silhouette for this kind of shot. Another kind of reflection. So actually you probably will see that in the rules of third, the point of interest is placed on the right side. A great expression, great posing. I helped the couple into the angle of the arms, put them against the wall. But the interesting thing in this shot is actually the reflection you see over here. So this is a reflection shot when you have kind of two examples of the beautiful couple. One real one and one in the reflection. Beautiful image. Love taking it always in Gamla stan in Stockholm. Another technique I'm using is lens flare. This is quite hard to achieve. In fact, you need some sort of good equipment to do it and know the settings, because you can easily blow up the exposure of this kind of image, and it could damage your eyes if you look into the sun through a lens. So you have to be a little bit careful in doing it. But I love doing those kind of images. This is a natural lens flare coming from the sun and down, and giving this halo and effects of the beautiful wedding couple. Another technique that you have to master as a wedding photographer, I believe, is something called negative space. And what this means is actually deliberately using negative. It's not negative, just a word of this weird technique. But what it actually does is you actually leave a lot of thing in the image as is. And then you place the subject of the matter of interest in this beautiful couple here on the right, actually way down below that we actually would have done taking if this shot has been looked at as being a proper taking shot. But we took several other images where they have more a traditional, portrait half body composition. But in this composition is I'm using negative shot here to attract interest into the image. And of course, the detail, wedding photography is so fun because it embraces so many kind of disciplines within the photography principle. So doing documentary, doing macro, like this one here, taking the shot of the rings, and I made the arrangement of the rings. Of course, this is something I do for every wedding couple, because it's really nice to have these kind of images as well. And always, thinking in the documentary fashion, thing that you are not unexpected, using foreground walls and backgrounds, framing the image in a proper way. This is a shot taking the unexpected. This is he's getting ready, and I was doing the job, and it's great to be very passive in this kind of setting. You shoot in a documentary style. And you capture very subtle and beautiful images where things are happening, and people actually don't know that you are shooting, but this is the part of it. And of course, taking care of and being there for the detailed shot, taking all the thing that's elements, the color scheme or whatever that is so interesting in a wedding. You have to capture that as well, of course, and take great time to do that in a proper way. And of course, capturing in a photo journalistic way, always seeing what's going to happen in the moment, being able to tell the story of the entire day for the wedding couple. And of course, always have fun. I really don't know what this guy was saying to the bride, but probably is something inappropriate. All that comes with having fun and doing a great photographic storytelling about the entire day. Just simply forgot, I usually take group shots as well at the end of all weddings. I think it's a great thing to have when you can see all your nearest and dearest people, your loved ones, your family, your friends, all participating in your fantastic day. These images can be executed shortly, just having one. I can make hundreds of those. And there are some weddings that is many different groups and families constellation that you have to consider and take part in and execute well. I usually make all those in a consistent way, so we shoot to a wall or something, so you have a consistent feel and look through all these kind of group images. Well, this is actually image showing the leading line. I love taking those kind of with shallow depth of field when you place the couple in a point of interest, and then you have something that actually leads the line like this circular flag formation here beautifully. And of course we were talking about this before, arranging for macros and details are extremely important into getting the entire images of a natural and emotionally compelling story that tells all good things and fun thing that has happened during your wedding day.
Well, that's pretty much the end, and I hope the tutorial has given you some insights in the art of wedding photography. Welcome to contact me at your convenience, and thanks once again for watching. Bye bye.